Is Dorit Kemsley getting back together with PK? As Dorit Kemsley and Paul PK Kemsley continue to navigate their separation, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member is sharing exactly how she feels about a possible reconciliation with her estranged husband. "I feel that I have come a long way since the beginning of the separation," Dorit said in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show video above. "I feel like things are getting clearer and clearer and clearer. We're kind of going through things, finding our feet in how to navigate a separation publicly, raising and co-parenting our children. So we haven't gone into that place where we're actually doing the work, and I don't know if we ever will." Earlier in the clip, she'd also shared that although she hasn't found herself thinking there's never a chance of them ending up together, she knows she wouldn't take him back the way things are. "I don't feel like I've reached a place where I know PK is not in my future," she said. At the same time, if he turned around to me tomorrow and said, "Dorit, I made a terrible mistake. I want to come back home. Let's have a go at this. We belong together, blah, 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 blah," I don't think I could accept that. I'm gonna go a step further. I know I couldn't. Does Kyle Richards think Dorit and PK will get back together? No, Kyle Richards does not think Dorit and PK will get back together. "I think that they really are done," Kyle said in the video above. "I did that only from what Dorit has said to me. I guess it surprises me because I always saw them as a couple that were codependent on each other, really, and loved each other so much. This does not seem like somebody who is home crying about wanting to be back with her husband. So I think that she seems very strong and solid in this decision, even if it was PK who was prompting it," she added. "I just don't see them back together now." Jennifer Tilly weighs in on Dorit and PK's separation. Jennifer Tilly also shared her own perspective on the Kemsleys' relationship. "I feel like the PK and Dorit marriage was over before it was over. And it's not over, they're just separated. But you know how, sometimes when you'll break up with somebody, but in your mind you've broken up with him like half a year earlier. The only thing left is the walk out the door situation," she explained. "The reality of it was, when he had lunch with her, I saw that there truly was a divide," she added. "I think once you've separated, it's kind of an irrevocable thing." When did Dorit and PK Kemsley split? Dorit and PK announced their separation in May 2024 with an Instagram statement. "We as a couple have been subject to a lot of speculation about our marriage. We have had our struggles over the last few years and continue to work through them as two people who love each other and share two amazing children together," the since-deleted post read. "To safeguard our deep friendship and maintain a harmonious environment for our children, we have made the mutual and difficult decision to take some time apart and reevaluate our relationship while we prioritize our children. We appreciate your love and support while we continue to do the work necessary throughout this journey. With love, Dorit and PK." Beyond the spotlight, Dorit and PK's unwritten story. In the glimmering world of Beverly Hills, where fame, fortune, and drama intertwine, Dorit Kemsley and her husband Paul PK Kemsley had always been a high-profile couple. To the public, they seemed like the quintessential power couple, successful, glamorous, and in love. But behind the cameras and the gold-plated gates of their lavish mansion, a different story was unfolding. Their relationship, once filled with passion, began to fray at the edges, slowly unraveling over the years. Despite their public persona, the cracks were impossible to ignore, and in May 2024, Dorit and PK made the decision that shocked many. They announced their separation. At the heart of this change was not just the reality of living in the shadow of reality TV fame, but the growing realization that their love story, despite its intense highs and lows, may not have a fairy tale ending. As Dorit shared in a heartfelt video during the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show, she had come a long way since the beginning of their separation. "I feel like things are getting clearer and clearer," she reflected, revealing that navigating the complexities of their split had brought a sense of clarity, but also uncertainty. "I don't feel like I've reached a place where I know PK is not in my future," she admitted, leaving room for the possibility that their story wasn't completely over. At the same time, she made it clear that reconciliation wasn't something she was actively seeking. If PK came to her and begged for a second chance, she knew she couldn't accept him back, not in the way things stood at that moment. It was a raw, honest reflection of the emotional turmoil she was feeling, the kind of conflict that only those who've experienced the emotional roller coaster of a troubled marriage can understand. The silent conversations. What happened behind closed doors? The journey leading up to their separation was not something that happened overnight. It was the culmination of years of small moments, quiet fights, and emotional gaps that grew too wide to ignore. Dorit and PK's marriage had been one that, from the outside, appeared flawless. PK, the charming British businessman with a quick wit and a seemingly unbreakable connection to his wife, often showered her with affection and extravagant gifts. Dorit, with her flawless fashion sense and infectious energy, was his rock, supporting him through highs and lows, from his professional endeavors to the ups and downs of their lives as reality stars. But behind the glamorous images and sparkling soirees, their connection started to show signs of strain. Dorit had, over time, become more vocal about her growing sense of independence. She had become aware that their codependent relationship, once a source of strength, had begun to feel more like a weight. The love they once shared had evolved into a complex web of emotional dependencies, and while they still cared for each other deeply, the foundation of their marriage was shaking. As their struggles played out in public, it became increasingly clear that the Kemsleys were grappling with more than just the pressures of celebrity life. Dorit spoke candidly about the separation during interviews, and while she wasn't sure what the future held for her and PK, she knew she had to prioritize her happiness and well-being. Raising their 2 children, Phoenix and Jagger, was her primary focus, and she wanted to ensure that their home remained stable, regardless of what happened between her and PK. Their split announcement in May 2024, delivered with grace and mutual respect, read, "We as a couple have been subject to a lot of speculation about our marriage. We have had our struggles over the last few years and continue to work through them as 2 people who love each other and share 2 amazing children together. To safeguard our deep friendship and maintain a harmonious environment for our children, we have made the mutual and difficult decision to take some time apart and reevaluate our relationship while we prioritize our children." The words reflected an understanding between them. They were not enemies but partners who needed space to figure things out. It was a decision that, while difficult, seemed to be the best path forward for the sake of their children. The impact of separation on Dorit. For Dorit, the decision was far from easy. Being part of the Real Housewives franchise meant that every moment of her life was under a microscope, and her personal struggles became fodder for tabloid headlines. But Dorit was no stranger to the spotlight. From her iconic fashion statements to her larger-than-life personality, she had always been a woman who thrived in the public eye. Yet this separation was different. It wasn't a storyline on a TV show or a temporary hiccup in their relationship. It was real life. In a candid interview, Dorit reflected on the emotional toll the separation had taken on her. "I've come to realize that sometimes love is not enough," she confessed. "You can love someone deeply and still need to let go. It's painful, but it's necessary for growth." Her words resonated with fans who had followed her journey on the show. Dorit, once seen as a symbol of luxury and perfection, was now sharing her vulnerabilities with the world. In doing so, she demonstrated strength in embracing her emotions and taking control of her future, regardless of the uncertainty it held. Kyle Richards' take. A friend's perspective. Kyle Richards, one of Dorit's closest friends on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, had always been a supportive presence in her life. However, when it came to the prospect of Dorit and PK getting back together, Kyle wasn't convinced. In the after-show video, Kyle shared her candid thoughts, stating that she didn't believe the couple would reconcile.